You ever feel like you're trapped between building your business and taking care of your health? Really think about it. Like you have to choose between success and well-being. Well, today's guest faced that exact dilemma. But instead of choosing one or the other, she found a way to turn her health knowledge into a business advantage. And here's the kicker. She did it by breaking the cardinal rule of expertise. She gave away all her secrets. Yeah. So stay tuned as we discover how being radically transparent with your knowledge could be the game-changing move your business needs. What is up? What is up? What the hell is up, my dark horse entrepreneurs? You know that moment when the doctor hands you the prescription and you're thinking, there has got to be a better way. Well, our guest today had the same thought, except she was the one wearing the white coat. After watching countless patients get trapped in the cycle of symptom chasing and prescription filling, she decided to flip the script on traditional healthcare. Meet Dr. Jennifer Schell, a rebel in a white coat, who has spent the last 23 years proving that sometimes the best medicine does not come in a little brown bottle. Now, I know what you're thinking. I can hear you in my headphones right now. Oh, great, Tracy, another healthcare professional preaching from the ivory tower. Nope, not on a dark horse entrepreneur, ladies and gentlemen. You should know better by now. This is someone who battled her own health demons, got knocked down by the events of 2020, and instead of playing it safe, she turned her expertise into multiple income streams by doing the unthinkable. Yep, and you heard me mention it, giving away her secrets. But here's where it really gets interesting. While other healthcare professionals are out there building walls around their knowledge, Dr. Schell was out there tearing them down. She has helped countless families break free from traditional healthcare maze, and now she's showing other entrepreneurs, especially my parent entrepreneurs, how to turn their expertise into freedom-creating businesses. So, whether you're struggling with work-life health balance, looking to monetize your knowledge, or just tired of feeling stuck in your traditional success trap, you're going to want to grab a pen and a piece of paper for this one, because Dr. Schell is about to show us how breaking the rules might be the healthiest business decision you will ever make. Ladies and gentlemen, get ready for some serious truth bombs about health, wealth, and giving away your expertise and how it might be the fastest path to both. You know, in a world of business and expertise, there's a common belief that you should guard your knowledge closely, right? You gotta hold on to all your secrets. Because after all, if you give away all your secrets, why would anyone ever want to pay you? But what if that conventional wisdom is completely backwards? Well, today we're exploring a radical approach with Dr. Jennifer Schell, who's built a successful practice by doing the exact opposite, giving away her expertise and giving it away freely. When I asked her about this seemingly counterintuitive approach, she pointed to a book that changed her perspective.
Yeah, so what was really, really pivotal for me? There's this book called The Go Giver. You ever heard of
Read it.
that?
This concept of giving as a business strategy isn't just something Dr. Schell's read about. It deeply aligned with who she was as a person and as a professional.
I love that book, and like my heart, I'm just a giver naturally. And you're right, like we're taught, like everything seems so cutthroat. And when I read that book, I was like, I'm just showing up literally to connect people, to help people, to just show them opportunities. Whether they want to take advantage of it, that's up to them. My job is just to share it.
You know, this philosophy flies straight in the face of what most business coaches will tell you. They'll say that you need to create scarcity. You need to hold back your best stuff only to give it away after someone, hands you their credit card. But Dr. Schell has found that genuine generosity creates more opportunity than it will ever eliminate. What's fascinating is how this giving mindset has shaped her entire career path, leading her to become a healthcare professional focused on root causes rather than just treating the symptoms. You know, when you meet someone who's passionate about their work, you can't help but wonder what led them down this path. And for Dr. Schell's, her journey into healthcare wasn't about following a traditional medical route. It was about finding a way to address the root causes of health issues rather than just, scratching the surface and treating the symptoms. I know many healthcare professionals are trained to focus on managing symptoms, prescribing medications to mask problems rather than solve them. And this is a controversial issue. And I'm hoping it doesn't get this episode bumped, but I think it's worth discussing. But Dr. Schell's took a different approach, one that aligned with her natural tendency to look a little deeper.
Yeah, no, you're fine. Yeah, so I've been a chiropractor for 23 years, and I just knew that I wanted to do something to help people, but I knew being a medical doctor just wasn't the right fit for me. I really love looking for a root cause. So I do a lot of clinical nutrition and chiropractic. So that's just been amazing.
Yeah, this focus on finding the underlying causes rather than just, scratching the surface and treating symptoms is what makes Dr. Shell's approach so powerful. It's also what makes her willingness to share her knowledge so impactful. She's not just giving away quick fixes. She's educating people on how to truly understand and address their challenges, whether they're health focused or not. This philosophy, I think, extends beyond her practice and into how she now approaches business as well as her life. By looking for root causes in all the areas of our life, in her life, she's able to create more sustainable solutions, whether it's for her patient's health issue or an entrepreneur's business challenge. Now, one of the most powerful tools in your business might be the very thing you're trying to hide, and those are your vulnerabilities. And we're often taught to present a perfect image, especially when we're professionals. I remember starting at Coca-Cola way back when, having to walk in the downtown office and in a suit and a tie, everything all buttoned up. So that IBM look for the older folks out there. Don't let them see you sweat, right? I don't know. I'm calm. Meanwhile, you're the duck with the feet moving under the water. But what if sharing your struggles actually strengthens your connections with your clients and your customers? Where Dr. Shells has a powerful personal story that illustrates how vulnerability can become a strength. And when I asked her about showing vulnerabilities in business, she opened up about a challenge that could have derailed her career entirely.
So I'm going to get vulnerable.
Go
So
for it.
I'm just going to go back a little bit of history.
Sure.
In my early 20s, I was in chiropractic school and I started feeling like I was struggling to get a deep breath. And I just kind of pushed through. And then after school, like after I graduated, one of my mentors was like, Jen, something is going on, like with your voice. And I'm like, oh, okay. I go to the ENT, and literally this guy had the worst bedside manner ever. I didn't have my husband with me, not my family, just by myself, thinking I have like polyps. And he says, yeah, you've got, it's called spasmodic dysphonia. You're never going to get better. It could get worse, and there's no cure, and there's nothing you can do except Botox in your vocal cords. So I leave there, and I'm like, what just happened? It's like, so for 15 years, I did not do Botox, and this is a personal thing. Like, I don't care if you do or you don't. I am not against the medical establishment.
Right.
My thing is, you do it when it fits, but that's my last resort. Like, I'm not starting there. So anyways, I tried everything, traveled the country, did all this stuff. Finally, I just wound up getting Botox, and that's how I'm able to actually speak really freely.
Think about it. Imagine being told that as a young professional, that your voice, one of your most important tools for connecting with patients, would never improve. And actually, it might end up getting worse. For many, that would be enough to abandon that particular career plan entirely.
So anyways, so I get this. Okay, my point being, that was extremely introverting to me because I had constant attention that people were wondering what was wrong with me.
Right.
I'd have patients say, oh, are you nervous? And I'm thinking, no, I'm not. Oh, are you sad? Are you sick? Are you? I'm like, oh my God, no, I'm not. So what happened was for years, I would not teach classes. I wouldn't even use the phone. Tracy, like the phone gave me horrible anxiety.
Now, this is where most people would hide away, limiting their professional growth to avoiding uncomfortable situations. But during 2020, Dr. Shells had a realization that changed everything.
Coming up through COVID, like I realized I was holding myself back. I literally had gotten so introverted about it that I was in a shell, right? Like I was just hiding. Which is funny because my last name is Shell, right? But anyways, so I was like hiding in that.
Right.
And so I decided if I'm going to do something, if I take the focus off myself, focus on what I'm passionate about, helping other people, it truly became coming from a place of service. I stopped caring what my voice sounded like.
Right.
And then I was like, okay, I'm super horrified to do podcasts. So I forced myself to start doing podcasts, but this was a killer.
That right there, that shift in perspective from focusing on her limitation to focusing on how she could serve others completely transformed her approach to business. Instead of letting her vulnerability hold her back, she leaned into it. She even forced herself to do things that completely scared her. What Dr. Shell discovered is something most successful entrepreneurs eventually learn. Your flaws, he says with air quotes, your flaws and your challenges often become your greatest differentiators in the marketplace. When you're open about your struggles, you create authentic connections that no polished marketing campaign could ever create or achieve. So, what we often perceive as our biggest limitations can actually become the most powerful tools that we can use for connecting with other people. When we're open about our challenges, we create a space for authentic relationships to form. But that wouldn't be possible if we maintain that facade of perfect. We've seen those people, right? They're out there, and God love them. They have a place in society. I don't particularly like them. I've had a number of those friends, he says with air quotes once again, that once you peel that facade away, it's like, yeah, I don't like it. I've seen this play out countless times with the entrepreneurs I've been lucky enough to work with. Those who try to present a flawless image often struggle to build those genuine connections, while those who fully embrace their story, like hugging that pillow at night, challenges and all, they tend to attract loyal followers who resonate with their journey. They're like, holy shit, they know the struggles I'm going through because they've been there. They've gone through something just like it or very similar. Dr. Shells has turned what could be a career-ending limitation into the source of inspiration for her clients as well as her patients. When I asked her about this transformation, her response revealed just how powerful this approach can be.
So what I was going to say is my superpower though now is that I really use that, because when I have somebody come in and they say, oh, I'm too old, I'm too young, I'm too heavy, I'm too shy, I'm like, oh no, like, let me just tell you, that's an excuse that you're making for yourself. Right. And I can say it because I've lived it.
Yeah.
So
100%.
if anything, I feel like I can inspire people who are limiting themselves and kind of show them that you can go past that.
That, my friends, is the magic that happens when you stop hiding your challenges and start leveraging them as a part of your story. Just embrace them. It's all to hold on to it. Hug it like your favorite person in the world, right? Your personal struggles give you credibility. Your personal struggles give you authority that can't be manufactured. You can't make this shit up, right? When Dr. Shells tells someone their perceived limitation is just an excuse, it carries weight because she has walked that path herself. You know, we as dark horse entrepreneurs, we're already comfortable with being underestimated. We're already comfortable with proving our doubters wrong. But sometimes the biggest doubter is that voice in our own head telling us that we aren't good enough because of some limitation or because of some foible that we went through or some bad choice we made back in the day and some challenge that we faced. Here's the truth. Those very limitations often formed the foundation of what is now your most meaningful work. I know it's formed for mine. They give us perspective. They give us empathy, and they give us insights that others don't have. And if they have, it's because they've read a book, because they haven't been through it. Or maybe, lucky enough, they've been through it and they can share it. When we're brave enough to share these stumbles, bumbles, falls, and face plants, we create connections that no amount of polished marketing will ever achieve, not even through AI. Okay? You see, as dark horse entrepreneurs, we're no strangers to bucking trends, and we're no strangers to challenging the status quo. Sometimes the most valuable path is the one everyone else has warned you not to travel down. Yeah, right? You feel me? Okay. I was curious to hear which pieces of conventional wisdom Dr. Shell has found to be completely wrong in her experience. Her answer surprised me a little bit, and it might challenge some of your own assumptions about what business models that you should try that could lead to success.
So my second business is network marketing.
Yeah.
And when I started to get into that, I'd never done it before. I didn't know anything about it. And my dad, his dad, it must have been like in the 80s, did something and got burned really bad. And it was like this disastrous thing. And so when I started getting into it, my dad was voicing like all these concerns, like, be careful. And then my husband was like, I don't know, Jen, and blah, blah, blah. So my biggest thing is that you don't have to do traditional business. I found immense success in network marketing. And I don't give a shit what anybody says. Like, there's going to be good and bad in anything.
That is the perfect example of how conventional wisdom can hold you back. It can hold us all back. Network marketing has gotten a bad rap over the years, often lumped together with pyramid schemes or dismissed as not being a real business, right? But Dr. Shell's found that by ignoring those warnings and following her own gut and her own path, she discovered a business model that actually worked exceptionally well for her.
If you find the right thing for you and it fits, run with it. It doesn't freaking matter what anybody else thinks. Now, mind you, I do care what my husband and my dad think.
Well, of course.
But
of
when
course.
I proved to them and they were
Yeah.
like, you're doing what? What? And
Yeah.
it was amazing. I was like, yes, see, it's viable.
What's powerful about this approach is that Dr. Shells didn't just blindly ignore the warnings, she acknowledged them. She understood the concerns, and then she proceeded to prove through results that this path for her could in fact work. She didn't let other people's past experiences dictate her future possibilities. This is a crucial mindset for all my dark horse entrepreneurs out there. The business models and strategies or approaches that others have written off completely might be exactly what is going to work for you. Even the ones I tell you not to try, which aren't very many of them. The key here is to evaluate opportunities based on your unique situation, your unique skills, and your unique goals. Not based on general opinions or conventional wisdom that has been out there time on in a memoriam. Things have changed. Heck, things have just changed over the past 5 years, let alone the past 50. So whether it's network marketing, content creation, service-based businesses, or any other model that you're interested in, the right approach is the one that aligns with your strengths and helps you achieve your goals, regardless of what the experts might be saying out there, even this expert, okay? And here's another thing I want you to think about. One of the most underrated tools for your entrepreneurial success out there is not some fancy piece of software. It's not even some expensive coaching program, although both of those could have benefits to you. It's a simple journal. And if you've heard more than one of my podcast episodes, you've heard me mention this a few times. But this isn't about my opinion yet. When I asked Dr. Shells about how she helps people find their path when they're feeling stuck, her answer centered on this powerful practice.
It's just getting to the point that there doesn't have to be an exact way. My biggest thing, if somebody knows they want something different in their life, like they want their life to look different, they're not really happy, then, but they don't know where to go or where to start. So my biggest thing is just like journal, like every single day, just like mind them, and try to be very intentional, or even writing down what you do want your life to look like. And then just be open, because I truly believe stuff comes in and you'll find your way. And like everybody's route can be different. Doesn't matter.
This daily practice of getting your thoughts out of your head and onto your paper is transformative for several reasons. First, it creates clarity. When your thoughts are swirling around in your mind and you're, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do, they can feel so overwhelming and even disconnected. Writing them down will help you start to see patterns and make connections you might otherwise miss when you're fretting about it. Maybe not when you're initially writing it down, but maybe a couple of days later when you come back and go, oh, well, wait a minute. Yeah, when that emotion is kind of gone, okay? Second, journaling creates accountability. When you write down your goals and you write down your aspirations, you're making a commitment to yourself that's harder to ignore than that fleeting moment you had in your head. Yeah. Okay. And I found that one of the most valuable aspects of journaling is periodically going back and reviewing what you've written. Okay. Going back through old journals can reveal how far you've come, right? It remind you of ideas that you may have forgotten and show you patterns in your thinking that might be holding you back, or better yet, could have been the ones that propelled you forward. Dr. Sheld even shared a fascinating story about the power of this practice when combined with visualization techniques, like vision boards.
I love that. There was this book, and I'm trying so hard to remember which book it was, but this guy, he was talking about how he would journal, but like his goals and what he wanted his life to look like. And he cut out like pictures, like a vision board. Yeah. Maybe it was a vision board. And he had this house that he cut out of this like magazine. He literally like 10 years later was in that house and didn't even know. And his kid pulled out from like an old box
Yeah,
and pulled it out. The exact house was on that board.
that's
And
cool.
because he put it there.
I think this story illustrates something I've seen happening time and time again. When you clearly articulate what it is you want, whether it's through journaling or doing vision boards or just writing your goals down on a piece of paper, you're priming your brain to recognize all the opportunities that pop up around you that align with those goals you're wanting to achieve. You become far more likely to take actions that move you forward towards what you want, often without you even realize that you are doing it. And for my busy parent entrepreneurs out there, journaling doesn't have to be time consuming. Take 5 minutes of focused writing each day. That alone can yield powerful results over time. The key here is consistency and being honest with yourself. Writing regularly and writing truthfully about what it is you want and the things that are going on and what it may be that's standing in your way, you're going to see huge benefits out of that. And we jump to the topic of trust, especially trust through education, because in both business and parenting, one of the most powerful ways to build trust is through education rather than dictation. And when you take the time to explain your reasoning instead of just issuing commands like a master on high or making claims, you start creating a foundation of respect and a foundation of understanding. And I asked Dr. Shells about her approach to building trust through education. Her answer revealed a philosophy that applies beautifully in both parenting as well as in business.
So this is to the parents out there. So one huge thing that I use every day in my practice with kids, but also with my own kids. When I was parenting, like when I grew up, your parents would just say no. And you think, what an ass. Like, what the okay. And but what I learned is if I educate my children why I'm saying no, we have mutual respect,
Right.
and then that communication really grows.
That approach right there creates a completely different dynamic than simply imposing rules without explanation. How many of us had that dad said, because I said so? Right. My folks said that a few times, but for the most part, they actually shared their reasons. When you help people understand the reasoning behind your decisions or your recommendations, you transform what could be perceived as control into collaboration. You feel me?
So for me, my life revolves around like teaching people how to eat a healthy, less sugar, don't eat food dyes and processed food. So when I see kids, or like with my own children, it was constantly about, look at this advertisement. And I'd say, I see this beautiful cartoon and it's so fun and beautiful. And it was like some crazy cereal, whatever.
Right.
So anyways, point being, I would say to my kids, oh my gosh, who do you think they're talking to? Who do you think they want to see this? And they'd be like, kids or, whatever. And then I'm like, look how fun they make. Anyways, so the whole point being, don't just say no, offer the reason why and educate.
This simple principle applies powerfully in business. When you educate your audience about why your approach works or about why you recommend certain solutions or why you recommend your solution, you're building credibility and you build trust in a way that simple claims never could. Dr. Shells emphasized that this approach requires authenticity as well as conviction in what it is that you believe.
And I guess even when that comes to business, not everybody is going to want your offer. They might think you're crazy. But if somebody wants to hear it or is willing, talk about it. Don't hold back, right? That might be something. Like, don't ever be scared of what you believe in or who you are or what you represent. It's up to that other person. And we touched on this. It's up to that person, whether they want to take advantage of it. That's up to them. But you owe it to yourself to put it out there.
And I think this is where education and authenticity intersect. They just kind of come together at the crossroads. When you truly believe in what it is you're offering, whether it's health advice or whether it's business services or parenting guidance or just helping your friend out, you have a responsibility to share that knowledge openly. Even if some people out there might disagree with it and completely reject it and just shoot it down altogether. The key is to present the information in a way that respects the other person's agency, right? You're not trying to force your perspective on them. No. It's not how we roll around here. You're offering knowledge. and you're letting them decide what to do with it. This approach, in and of itself, builds trust because it demonstrates both expertise as well as respect. And that's huge in building trust. Building trust is essential for any successful relationship, whether it's with clients or customers or parents or children or even, gosh, just your whole family. But there are common pitfalls that can undermine trust even when our intentions are 100% pure. And so I asked Dr. Shells about the biggest mistakes that she sees people making when trying to build trust through education. And her answer highlighted a fundamental error that many well-meaning entrepreneurs and professionals alike tend to make.
Oh, the mistake. I think forcing something on someone is probably the first thing.
Right.
And not accepting someone else's truth, their reality.
Yeah.
Their reality may be that they just don't understand or know, or they have looked at something and maybe it's not for them. But I think the biggest thing is you cannot force anything, and always just come from a place of service, like we said.
This insight, I think, goes to the heart of effective trust building. When we try to force our perspective, our product, or our service on someone who just isn't receptive, we're not only unlikely to succeed, you're actually damaging any trust you've already built. True trust, the kind we all want, comes from respecting the other person's reality and meeting them where they are, not where we think they should be. Now, this doesn't mean you can't challenge someone's thinking or propose new ideas or introduce new concepts, but it does mean recognizing that their perspective is valid, even if it's just valid to them, even if it's different from your perspective.
Like it's your
That's
genuine. But I don't think you can force anything on anyone. If they're open to hearing it, great. But don't verbal diarrhea on someone who really could give a shit.
And that comes back to that being slimy again, right?
Don't be slimy.
Right?
On my face.
That colorful but accurate description captures what so many of us have experienced on the receiving end of someone's passionate but unwelcome pitch. Whether it's a business opportunity or maybe some health advice or any other area of expertise, forcing information down someone's throat onto someone who just isn't interested creates resistance. It certainly doesn't recreate receptivity. So, as Dark Horse entrepreneurs, I know you're passionate about your solutions and you're eager to share them with anyone that you can help. But remember, effective communications requires you to read the room and respect boundaries. Okay. And now I'm not saying you can't push them a little bit and help educate someone, but when someone shows interest, that's your invitation to turn up the spigot on your knowledge funnel. Okay. But when they don't, pushing harder, right? Pressing up against that wall of resistance. I'm going to tell you right now, that rarely ever works. The most trusted experts aren't the ones who try to convince everyone that they're correct. They're the ones who share their knowledge generously with those who are already ready to receive it, while still respecting the choices of those who are not. This approach might seem a little counterintuitive if you're used to those aggressive sales tactics out there or overcoming objections, but in the long run, respecting others' anonymity builds far more trust than trying to force your perspective down someone's throat anytime you meet them. Okay? Now, before wrapping up my conversation, I asked Dr. Shells to share one final gem of advice specifically for my parent entrepreneurs out there, you Dark Horse entrepreneurs, those trying to build a business while juggling the demands of family life or any other, all of us got busy lives out there. Her response, I think, was both practical and powerful.
But my biggest thing for parents, especially if you're trying to, maybe you've got a daytime job and then, you're trying to build your dream after work or on the weekends, you have to time block. Like you literally have to set that time that is non-negotiable, and you have to discuss it. Like if you have a spouse, or even if you don't, you're a single parent, but you have kids, they have to understand that hour each night, that is your time to focus. And you have to make it a priority no matter what.
This advice right there addresses one of the biggest challenges I think you as a Dark Horse entrepreneur are going to face. Finding consistent time to work on your business amidst the chaos of your family life. By establishing, and you've heard me talk about this before a couple episodes back, by establishing a non-negotiable time block and communicating its importance to your loved ones, to your family, you create both the space and the permission to pursue your goals.
Because
Yeah.
like we talked about, you can dream all you want, but if you don't actually put the dedication, the effort, and it's not always pretty, right?
Mm-mm.
Like you don't always want to fucking do the work, but you do. You set that time and you do it.
I found that for many of the parents that I've been lucky enough to work with, starting with just 15 minutes can be a complete game changer, which is why you heard in some of the recent episodes for the past couple of months, I've been focusing on those smaller blocks of time. I don't want you to feel like you need to block out hours and hours at a time. Even 15 minutes of focused, dedicated work can start to build momentum. I'm not talking about you're going to sit down for 15 minutes and, doom scroll for a couple of minutes and then do a couple of minutes of reach over. No, I'm talking about that real 15 minutes of focused, dedicated work. That is going to build momentum. The key here is consistency as well as commitment. Here's what you need to do. You need to promise yourself that you're going to work for all 15 of those minutes. No checking your phone, no surfing the internet, just focused effort on what it is you're trying to accomplish inside that 15 minutes. What typically happens when you do that is that once you get started, you're often going to continue beyond the timer that you set for 15 minutes. It's going to go ding, and after 15 minutes, you're going to go, well, I'm on a roll now. I'm going to keep on going. The hardest part is usually the beginning, which is why Dr. Shells recommends this powerful technique for overcoming that initial resistance.
Yes. You know what, Tracy, did you read Mel Robbins' book, The 5-Second Rule?
I don't think I have.
That's a great one. So she literally says you count down. So like you're laying in bed, you got to go for a run and you're like, I don't want to do that. If you let your mind, it can stop you from anything.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a huge thing. Let me just say this too.
Yeah.
Our minds are wired to protect us. Your mind wants to keep you safe in your safe little bubble. And all that means is everything's going to stay the fucking same.
Yeah.
Because you're living in that little reptilian mind where you have to break free. So anyways, 5-second rule, you literally count back 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you just go. Yeah. It was a great book. So anybody who gets stopped by that, you got to read that.
This simple countdown technique can be remarkably effective at overcoming that mental resistance we all face. I face it. Everyone faces it. When it comes time to do something, maybe we don't want to do, maybe we find challenging, whatever it is, whatever something's holding you back. By counting down from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go, you interrupt the pattern of overthinking and you create a launch pad for action, taking yourself right off. The combination of these strategies, setting non-negotiable time, starting off with just 15 minutes and using the 5-second launch rule to get you started, creates a powerful stacked framework for all my dark horse parent entrepreneurs out there to make consistent progress despite the busy schedule I know you have. Remember, building a business as a parent isn't about massive action occasionally, once in a while, now and again. It's about consistently taking small steps day after day after day. Each of those small steps over time is going to create that momentum. It's like rolling that big boulder. Once you get that momentum going, it leads to breakthroughs and results. All right, my dark horse entrepreneurs, it's time for today's Whiskered Wisdom, that one actionable nugget that I want to make sure you can take away and implement and today, as soon as you're done listening to this podcast, to move your business forward. And today's wisdom comes straight from Dr. Shell's playbook, and it's something we're going to call the transparency advantage. And here it is. Take your biggest perceived weakness, limitation, or struggle, that thing that you've been hiding, and maybe you haven't been hiding, maybe you've just been downplaying it in your business. And I want you to deliberately share it with your audience this week. What? Yeah, hear me out. But don't just mention it. I want you to explain to everyone in your audience and on your social media platforms, explain how this challenge has actually made you better at what you do. You might have to think about it for a few minutes. Maybe you haven't looked at it from that perspective. How it has given you unique insight, how it's given you empathy, how it's given you perspective that others probably don't have. Dr. Shells turned her vocal cord condition into a superpower that helps her connect with her patients who feel like they're limited by their own challenges. What's your equivalent? Maybe you're a parent entrepreneur who can only work in short bursts between family responsibilities. That's not a limitation. It makes you incredibly efficient and focused when you do sit down to work in those short bursts. You feel me? Okay. Perhaps you lack formal education in whatever field of endeavor you're traveling down. That's not a weakness. It has freed you from the conventional thinking that's out there and allowed you to develop innovative approaches. Okay. Whatever your perceived limitation is, there's a flip side that gives you a unique perspective and a unique advantage to everyone out there. When you openly share that challenge and how it has strengthened you, three powerful things are going to happen. One, you're going to attract clients who resonate with your authentic story rather than that polished facade you may have already been putting out there. Two, you position yourself as relatable and human, hello, which builds trust faster than any of those three-letter credentials that may be out there. And three, you demonstrate the exact kind of transformation many of your clients are trying to get themselves, turning obstacles into opportunities. So this week, identify your limitation advantage and share it proudly, right? Just wear it on your sleeve, right? Tattoo it on your face, whatever you want to do. Post about it. Talk about it in your content. Mention it in your sales conversations. Do not hide it. Leverage it. Because in a world of perfected Instagram feeds and carefully curated LinkedIn profiles, your authentic story, challenges and all, warts and all, stumbles, bumbles, falls, and face plants might be your most powerful differentiator. Okay. Phew. All right. We've covered a lot today with Dr. Jennifer Shells, from the power of radical transparency to the importance of consistent action, even when you don't feel like it, right? Yeah, we've all been there, he says, raising his hand. What I love about conversations like this is they remind us that success isn't about following some perfect, laid out, predetermined path. It's all about embracing your unique journey, challenges and warts and all, and finding a way to turn what others see as limitations into your greatest strength. And if you'd like to connect with Dr. Jennifer and learn more about her approach, whether it's health or business, you'll find her links down in the show notes. I know she's at Food to the Rescue with a dot between each one, at food.to.the.rescue on Instagram with periods between those each word. She's doing some amazing work helping people take control of their health through education rather than through prescription. And hey, if you enjoyed this conversation and want to hear more, the complete unedited version of the interview with Dr. Jennifer Shell is available over on the YouTube channel. You'll find that link down in the show notes as well. There were some fascinating tangents and stories that we went on that I could not fit into today's episode. They're definitely worth checking out if you're interested. So whether you're balancing parenthood with entrepreneurship, overcoming personal challenges, or trying to find your unique path to success, you don't have to follow the conventional wisdom. Sometimes the best approach is the one everyone else has warned you about. As Dr. Shells showed us, giving away your expertise freely, embracing your vulnerabilities, and respecting others' journey can be far more powerful than guarding your knowledge and presenting that perfect facade. Okay. So this week, here's what I want to do. I want to challenge you to take one step towards your authenticity in your business. Share something you've been guarding or something you've been hiding. Give away some of that knowledge that you've been guarding so closely, and set that non-negotiable time to work on your dreams, even if it's only 15 minutes a day. And while you're doing that, go ahead and jump over to darkhorseinsider.com and sign up for the digital marketing newsletter. We share all these nuggets with you to help you with those 15 minutes a day. Until next time, this is your humble host, Tracy Brinkman, reminding you to think successfully and take action 15 minutes a day.